Hello and welcome to Hot Topics. Now, have you ever heard the saying, the first offer is the best offer? Well, today I'm going to talk about a couple of reasons why this is so often the case in real estate. And probably what is even more accurate is that the best offer usually comes within the first 2 to 3 weeks of a property being on the market. Now, in order for me to explain how this works, I've drawn a little graph here that I like to call the property interest timeline. And this represents the amount of inspections in comparison to the amount of weeks that a property's been on the market. And on the horizontal axis here, we have weeks 1 to 10. 10 weeks is usually a sufficient amount of time for a property to sell. And on the vertical axis here, we have this little person here representing the amount of inspections on the property in any given week. And this goes anywhere from 0 up to 25, and 25 is a significant amount of inspections for a property to have in 1 week. Now, before I go into this, I just want to explain what happens when a property is first listed. When a property first goes on the market, there is a whole heap of momentum around this property. It gets listed on all the internet portals, realestate.com, domain.com, and all the other sites. The email alert system sends out your property to all these emails for all the clients that are registered on these internet sites and the real estate agent's website. They're getting the email. Letters are being sent out about your property. SMSs are being sent out to clients. Phone calls are being made. The video for your property is going on Facebook and Instagram. There's a whole lot of different marketing techniques that are being done in order to draw as much attention to your property. And all that tends to happen and is most effective in those first couple of weeks. Now, if I take, for example, a very common listing I get, which is a 4-bedroom house in the inner city area, I can expect in those first few really strong weeks to have anywhere between 15 and 20 inspections in the first week. Now, this differs depending on the type of property, but we're talking about a 4-bedroom house here. Now, in the second week, what I'll usually find is that interest is still very good. You're going to have probably just slightly more, even slightly less than the first week, but still somewhere around the same level. Where you're going to notice a significant change is from weeks 3 and onwards. In the third week, you're going to notice that interest levels, inquiry, and actual inspections less than half in the third week that the property is on the market. You're going to look at inspection numbers somewhere around the 5 mark if you were having inspections up numbers around here in the first 2 weeks. And then from every week on from there, you're going to be looking at inspection numbers in the lower range of these numbers that I'm talking about. So in the 4th week, you might have 3 people. In the 5th week, you might have 2, and then 3, and 4, and 1, and so on. But for the rest of the campaign, you're going to be looking at inspection numbers in that lower region. You will never ever again see open homes and interests like you did in those first couple of weeks. So your property interest timeline is going to look something like this, and it's the same for every single property. The first 2.5 weeks, you're going to have more inspections in that time frame than in the next 8 weeks combined. Now, what's really important to note is that not only do you get more inspections in this time frame, but you have a much higher percentage of what I like to call hot buyers. Now, hot buyers are people that are ready to buy your property right now. These are people who have seen your property when it first came on the internet or when they got the SMS or the phone call, and they said, I want to go to the property this week because I don't want to miss out. These are people that have just sold a property and they have a limited time frame, 3 or 4 weeks to buy something. Otherwise, they're going to be stranded or they're going to have to rent somewhere. They're people that have been looking on the market for 10 or so weeks, and they may have missed out on a few properties. They weren't quite ready some time ago, but now they are ready. They've missed out on a few. They've been to a few auctions. They've made some offers, but they keep missing out because either they've been a bit slow with making an offer or they haven't offered enough and they keep getting beaten. And now they're a bit frustrated, and they're going to go to your open home on the first week, and if they like it, they're going to buy it. They're going to offer hard and strong. So not only do you have more inspections, but you've got a high percentage of these buyers that are going to actually make an offer. And that actually ends up creating a bit of competition, and it really helps your agent to push your price up with those buyers that are going to make those offers. Now from weeks 3 and onwards, yes, you're still going to have some inspections and inquiry, but you're going to have a lot less, and the percentage of the people coming through that are hot buyers is a lot less. Because you've got to ask yourself, if someone's coming in weeks 5 or 6, why are they taking so long to come and see your property when it's been on the market for so long already? And the reason is that usually these buyers just aren't that serious. You have a lot more buyers in this region that are just starting to look on the market. They're just researching the market. The average time frame for a buyer to buy a property from starting their search to actually making an offer on something is 7 weeks. So if someone's coming to see your property and they really like it, but it's only their 1st or 2nd week looking, the chances of them actually making an offer is very slim. And you get a lot of these buyers in this sort of period. You get people who've seen your property online, but they couldn't be bothered going the first 2 weeks because they were kind of busy, and so they came in weeks 4 or 5, not really too worried if it's sold in the weeks prior, because they're just not that serious. So there's a lot more of those kind of buyers coming through your property, and less of those really hot buyers that are ready to go. And once you've exhausted those hot buyers, they usually only come once, they give it a go, and then if they don't buy it, they're on to the next thing. They never come back. So it gets harder and harder to sell your property as time goes on, and not just because of the buyers, but when a good buyer does come through in the later weeks, quite often they start to think, well, why hasn't this property sold yet? If a hot buyer comes in 8 weeks, was looking at it in week 1, and they're seeing this frenzy and they're seeing all the other interested parties, they're not thinking, why hasn't this property sold yet? They're thinking, what do I have to do to buy this property? What do I have to offer to beat the rest of these people? If they come through in week 8 and 9 and they like the property, but there's only a few people looking, it's not sold yet, they're questioning, well, why hasn't it sold? And justifying reasons why the value must be lower. That's why it's so important to really, really consider good offers that come in the 1st and 2nd week of the property being on the market. I have unfortunately seen in my career many people get offers in that area and think, well, that's a good offer, but I'd like to see what else is out there, because they have a feeling, because there's been so much interest in these beginning weeks, that that's just going to continue. But many times people have just ended up kicking themselves and wishing they had listened to the market in those first couple of weeks. So that's it. That's why the first offer is often the best, and more importantly, the best offer usually comes within the first 2 weeks on the market. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.